Are you climbing a comfort ladder? What's a comfort ladder? Well, welcome back to With Joe Wehbe, the podcast. We were talking yesterday about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Don't forget that these are all made in a very specific order, so you should probably go back a bit so you get them all, well, so they make sense. But let's continue on from the blog on the site with joewehbe.com about Maslow's hierarchy and now the comfort ladder. So once we have enough food, water, and air, we're likely to prioritize our safety needs. That's level 2 on Maslow's hierarchy. Having a roof over our head, being warm, having expenses met, and so on. And then we reach an interesting point. After safety needs, Maslow stacked belongingness and love needs, our desire to be liked and loved, esteem needs related to confidence, and self-actualization, fulfilling our human potential. I see a fundamental difference between the first 2 levels and the final 3. That difference for me relates to how easily these first needs can be satisfied with financial and material resources and wealth, whereas our more sophisticated human needs cannot. Money, money, money. Return to my edit of this image, and this will be much clearer to you if you're able to see the graphic. Again, on YouTube, I'll try and make it available, but it is on the site. You'll see I've visually demonstrated the steps up the hierarchy as dollar rungs. Food, water, and shelter can easily be paid for, but after this point, money loses most of its utility. Where can we buy love and belonging? Where would we find a store where we can offer payment in exchange for confidence? However, one of the traps we fall into is a pattern of thinking that money solves all our problems and satisfies all our needs. When we fail to recognize this fallacy, we are distracted from climbing the hierarchy and climb the comfort ladder instead. The comfort ladder. Comfort is a diminishing return. $15 is not much more than having no money at all, but it can be the difference between one meal and no meal. And so, to the man with nothing, $15 carries huge utility. Say, for example, that $500,000 buys you a decent home and gets you off the street. That is a massive value add, because now you are off the street. But a house worth $1 million does not provide much more value than a home worth $500,000 comparatively, going from a no home to $500,000 home. This is especially true after you've moved in and the novelty of the experience is worn off. Pleasure, please remember, is homeostatic and always returns to baseline. So if the man next moves to a house worth $2 million, again, his happiness will improve by even less than it did in the move from the first home to the second home, despite spending twice as much on the upgrade once again. Climbing Maslow's hierarchy is intended as a path to meaning and fulfillment. The comfort ladder is a path to comfort, which diverges from the path to meaning after safety needs are met. At this point is where I put in the minimum viable lifestyle as a transition. The intersection between the comfort line and the happiness line. Instead of making life more meaningful after safety needs are met, people who are conditioned to pursue more material wealth climb the comfort ladder, expecting this to bring more fulfillment. Again, this episode is somewhat undermined by the audio format of a podcast and even the video a little bit. The graphic really does make all the difference on the comfort ladder article. But basically, it's if you understand that Maslow's hierarchy is a pyramid, right? The first 2 levels, as I said, are very easily paid for. Physiological needs, safety needs. After that point, money can't really directly get you the next great things on your journey. A lot of people still, though, get in the trap of just pursuing more and more income and material wealth and status, probably more than money actually, but less admitted and talked about. And that does not necessarily just lead us to a diminishing return where, as I said, the example of a homeless man going doubling his spend on a house, but really reducing, maybe halving the joy he gets out of each successive home, sometimes it actually makes things worse. So not just less of good, but more of bad, which again is maybe getting ahead of ourselves. It's probably a conversation for tomorrow when we talk about the luxury trap. I just want to point out a very simple idea that Western culture in particular has completely dropped the ball on. And that idea is that once your minimum viable lifestyle is covered, once your safety and physiological needs are met, and you also have not just comfort, but a meaningful lifestyle, because the other things can't really be paid for. So you just need to negotiate the time and environment and people and activities around you that allow that meaningful lifestyle, which doesn't cost much. After you got that point, more and more material items are not going to deliver. That's pleasure treadmill. They're not going to provide fulfillment. So the really easy way to protect against getting stuck climbing the comfort ladder for no real advantage to yourself is to go back to the minimum viable lifestyle, which is episodes 1 to 3, and understand it and understand what your minimum viable lifestyle is. Because what that does is it clears the muck. It gives you clarity on how much of your resources, your energy, time, and effort go into making more money at a point where comfort becomes much less important. Your comfort needs are a line after which you pass, you're past. You just need to make sure you don't go back. You can have a bit of a buffer, but once you're past the line, you're past the line. And then as Maslow's hierarchy tells us, other things then become important. But those things are not acquired through money. You can't buy anyone's love. I've never been at a time in my life where, there was massive financial stress on me and my family, thankfully, touch wood so far. It doesn't mean I haven't had problems and difficulties and setbacks in my life, as we all have, but none of those problems could have been resolved by money. Money was never a shortage. It's just not what gets us further up Maslow's. It's still a tool, but it has a limited utility after that point. So that's the comfort ladder. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the luxury trap. Don't forget to just keep clear on that minimum viable lifestyle, because that will open all sorts of doors in your decision making. Though remember, of course, that the best way to open 1,000 doors for you is to concentrate on opening doors for others. This has been the With Joe Wehbe podcast. Thank you. I'll see you again tomorrow.